In this short video, I'd like to talk about using Wikipedia as a source of information and as a starting point for research into topics. In the first place, I'd like to say what a fabulous resource Wikipedia is. I'm constantly grateful for the possibility that I can look up almost any topic at any time of day and night and get a good starting point for detailed research from within Wikipedia, and very often the Wikipedia page itself enables me to proceed with a more complex piece of thinking without further ado. So I'm deeply delighted to have this available as a resource, and I'm looking forward to the time when Gaia University contributes actively to the building of the project. However, that said, it's necessary for us to exercise a little caution when using Wikipedia, partly because of the nature of the way it's constructed. It's open for any of us to edit pretty much any time. So you can see that on this page which is called Worldview, I can go to the source code up here, and when I'm in the source code I could edit it. And of course I might have very limited knowledge and understanding of Worldview, so I could make a bit of a mess, or I could seek to have my worldview dominate the way in which the worldview page is presented, and so on and so forth. Or I could just do an act of vandalism and make a real mess of it. So all of those are possible, but it's worth going into the edit at some stage just to see how that might be done. Here, over here, this is a way that I could look at the history of the site, which I'm going to go and do, the history of this page. This gives me all sorts of interesting information. It tells me how recently the page has been updated, which is quite recent. I'm looking on the 4th of August, so 30th of July is relatively recently. And it also tells me who made the changes, so I can look down here and see who the contributors are, and that gives me some idea of the consistency of the effort, plus the range of number of people who are involved. And I can also look to see what the types of changes they are. So here someone put a better reference at the heading area, and also cleaned up a dead link to the Max Planck website, and we can see, oh, here we go, here's a reverting possible vandalism activity that took place in 30th of January 2011, and so on. So we can have some sort of sense that this is a site which is quite active, I would say, not over so, and so we could be delighted that there are all these people working to make this particular reference page more complete and more well organized for us. Now I'm going back up to the top again to see what else we can see. Here we can go and have a look at the discussions about the article and see that the article is part of the Wiki project philosophy, part of the Wiki anthropology project, and part of the Wiki project on politics. And for each of these we have a score on a quality scale. In this case it's considered to be a start quality in the philosophy project, and in terms of importance scale it's high, so high importance, and yet it's a sort of like a starting scale. Similarly on the Wiki project anthropology, start class on the quality scale and of high importance on the importance scale. And then in politics it's start class and of mid importance. So we could go and check out the meaning of these scales by clicking on any one of these blue links, and we could also go and check out each of these portals over here on the right. I have a sense that if I was to do that, I might just disappear for a couple of hours, so I'm not going to go there now. And down here we can see a general discussion taking place, and I find these quite informative. Here's an interesting looking map over here that attempts to relate world views to language groups. So this is an analysis. This is a hypothetico-deductive conjecture. That means I think that means it's not true yet. I mean, it's not provenly true through any significant pieces of conventional academic research as yet. So lots to learn here. Very, very useful to go and spend time in these locations, besides just spending time in the article itself. But anyway, we'll just go back to the article. There's a couple of more things I'd like to show you. Here's the table of contents. These are all active links, so I can pop along into any of those zones and have a look. So I'm going to have a look at the references. So I can just skim down here and see whether there are people that I know about. Here and there I see this little sign. I'll just go to one side of it. That shows me there's a PDF that I could download and read. Actually, that comes from one of the main people that's quoted in the article above, so that might be very worthwhile. Here's another PDF that I could download and have a look at. So there's any number of resources that I could spend a bit of time having a look at. Oops, sorry, that's my mouse use is not very clean at the moment. Here in the external links section, there are some quite interesting pieces that I might like to have a look at, and in particular this one, World Views, an Introduction, is definitely worth a look. I'll have a look at that a little in a separate video, but that's definitely one that I would spend some time in. And last of all, here we've got a page rating system, and we can go and select view page ratings and see that it gets 5 out of 5 for being trustworthy, 5 out of 5 for being objective, 3 out of 5 for being complete, and 2 out of 5 for being well written. We should take that with just a little pinch of salt, as it turns out there's 1 rating for the first 3 items and only 2 ratings for the second, so we know that it's not been rated a great deal. This is not a big surprise. The rating mechanism is relatively recently added to Wikipedia, but nonetheless we can go and make some checks of that sort. So just to summarize, Wikipedia is a fabulous resource and a great place to start working on a topic, and with these see alsos here, an almost endless connecting resource to many links, so we could go and spend time looking at each of those areas, and each one of those of course would have its own see alsos and its own external links, and we could disappear for another couple of hours quiet in front of the computer as we absorb all of that. So Wikipedia, used carefully, cross-referenced with other sites, and checked to see whether or not its references are valid, and also for you to have a look and see how often it's been changed and what the discussions are, turns it into a really powerful resource. So I recommend to you that you use it as a starting point very often.